Arsenal complete the signing of Declan Rice. It is official, 100% signed, sealed, delivered. He's yours. £105 million makes him the most expensive British player in the history of English and British football. It is a seismic and a transformative and statement signing for Arsenal Football Club. There can be no doubt about that whatsoever. It was a brilliant 22-23 campaign for Arsenal until those last 10 games and the four fateful matches where they failed to beat Liverpool and West Ham from leading positions and really struggled at home against Southampton. When you look back and you reflect and you listen to what Arsenal fans, forget what rivals think and pundits, the lack of leadership, the lack of extra quality in the midfield, it was certainly missing from Mikel Arteta's Arsenal team. Declan Rice, what does he bring? He brings quality on the ball. One of the best defensive midfield players in European football. Excellent passer. He can progress the ball. He can play in multiple positions and roles within the midfield. So depending upon your opponents, whether you are home and away, a team will often have to adapt. He has that adaptability within his skill set. And then on top of that, he is a phenomenal leader. He has great likability, meaning he's able to lead, he's able to communicate, and he's able to get people on board. And this will resonate within days, weeks, and months with Arsenal fans, and more importantly, his teammates around him when Declan Rice walks through that dressing room door during pre-season. When I say it's a seismic and transformative piece of business, this gives Arsenal more depth. This gives Arsenal more quality. This gives Arsenal a player who, for the next 10 years, can be a leading light for them, both in the Premier League and in the Champions League. And although people will challenge because he hasn't played there, this man was fantastic in the Conference League. Last season was brilliant in Europe also. Has been excellent in a England midfield in recent years. Has led to the best success without winning a trophy that England have had since 1966. And both of those things have been done with managers who do not play expansive football, who I think actually take away from their team more than they give it from an attacking point of view. And I believe under the stewardship and the leadership of Mikel Arteta, Declan Rice will go to another level. Declan Rice has so much more in his tank to give, in my humble opinion, and I think Arteta will get that out of him. Now, many will say, why is Terry bigging up a rival team? You're a Man United fan. Well, firstly, it's the football terrace, and I'm unbiased. But the unbiased part, the biased part of me, the Man United fan in me, is gutted. It's painful. This is a player that I've wanted Man United to sign for the past 3 years. I believed there was always a chance. I had hoped there was always going to be an opportunity and a chance, but we just couldn't quite get it over the line. We couldn't quite get it done at any point. There's either been a problem in the club and it's not been attractive, or there's been financial issues. Chelsea were always leading the race prior to that. And then Arsenal have swept in, and Arsenal have swept in during a very good period for them, where they have moved away from mediocrity, moved away from being an eighth place, sixth place, fifth place team, and they're back into title challenges. Now, many people are doubting whether Arsenal can sustain that title challenge going into next season. Personally, I think this is folly. I think there is wishful thinking that Arsenal will fall away. There is hope, there is prayer, there is a desire to see it happen. And I think that's because misery loves company. And until Chelsea and Man United and Tottenham and other clubs are back fighting for the titles, watching somebody else who for the last 19 years has been subject to laughter and criticism and banter from rivals, when you suddenly start to see them do so well, it irks people. It's like having sandpaper rubbed across your face. It's painful. People want you in the mud with them. And that's how I see the kind of punditry and fan opinion being surrounding Arsenal. We've seen it now since pre-season in 2022 that there is just this lack of want and realization and or ability from rivals just to say this Arsenal team is really quite good. Now, the one key factor for them now is to start winning trophies. So I'm going to be fair here and put pressure on them. There is no place to hide for Arsenal. Timber's happening. Kai Havertz is through the door. He may not be somebody that a lot of Arsenal fans or rivals think is particularly great, but Mikel Arteta wanted him and invested 65 million British pounds into him. So therefore, the pressure has to remain. With Declan Rice coming in, there is nowhere for Arteta, there is nowhere for Arsenal, there is nowhere for the fans or club to hide. It's win trophies and remain competitive in the Champions League and Premier League or bust. There is no more rebuild. There is no fifth phase. This is the fourth phase. If you want to call it the fourth phase, we'll accept that, I think, as rivals. We'll accept that as pundits. We'll accept that as YouTubers. We'll accept it as journalists. We'll accept it as, and I'm talking about everybody in our entirety. I put myself in the fan, rival, and content creator category, not journalist, in case any of you get a bit weird about it. Some of you are weird. Um, Phase 4 can exist, but phase 4 was bringing in players like Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Timber this window. That's it. There's no more phases. There is just continue to strengthen the squad, continue to get rid of dead wood, but compete and challenge for the big honors every year and win trophies along the way. This now has to be the only standard applied to Arsenal. It's the only one we apply to Liverpool. It's the only one we apply to City. And from this season as well, 1 year into a rebuild, it will be the standards labeled against Eric Ten Hag as well. So that's where you'll see fairness from me and a balanced nature. I don't want to see Arsenal fans anymore talk about rebuilds and time and to gel and X, Y, and Z. There are no more excuses. You're either good enough or you're not. That doesn't mean you necessarily want to sack the manager. You've got to put everything into context, but it has to challenge for the Prem, has to do well in the Champions League and pick up a trophy. In terms of the deal, what does it look like? Well, that's 105 million pounds. Now, you're going to get different stories from different outlets now, depending upon who the source of that journalist information is. West Ham are talking about 2 lump sum payments that they want to have breaking. So they almost want, I've read somewhere they want almost over 50 million pounds upfront year one for the player. And all the pro West Ham media or anti-Arsenal media will claim West Ham got the better end of the deal, and you'll probably find vice versa when it comes to the pro-Arsenal media. They will claim they got the better end of the deal, and they're not doing it in 2 installments. It's going to be 3. That they're happy with it, that they won the negotiations. In the cold, hard light of day, doesn't really matter. Arsenal had to put their big boy pants on this summer. They had to fend away and fight off Manchester City, and they did that both on the players' front. His preference was always Arsenal. He always wanted to move to the football club. And then they have gone out and broke the bank to bring the player in. Now, there should be no criticism of that in any way, shape, or form. I'm sure there will be from rivals, but hey, most are just jealous that they haven't yet this summer signed a player anywhere near Declan Rice's levels, abilities, and everything else that comes with him. I do think he's going to be a phenomenal signing for Arsenal. I do want to know what you think. I want to know what you feel. I want to know your opinion on this deal and the transfer in the comment section below. Please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.